Welcome to the Class Business Podcast. I'm Chrissy Monaghan, your host, and today we are joined by Jo from Story Rangers. Jo is a mom of two and runs her own Story Rangers franchise in the Dudley and Stourbridge area. She used to be a teacher for 11 years and now she helps children fall in love with reading through fun and play. She joined my Market Like a Pop Star program last year, and today we're going to be chatting about her business journey, what she's built since, and what it's really like to come and work with me. So let's go. I can't wait to get into this conversation. Jo, it's absolutely amazing to have you with us today. For everyone that's listening online or watching us on YouTube, please tell everyone who you are, what do you do, and where do you do it?
Hello, everyone. My name's Jo. I'm from Story Rangers Stourbridge and Dudley. So I lead preschool classes for 2 to 5 year old storytelling classes in the Stourbridge and Dudley area.
And when did you start your business?
So I started this business officially, it was August 2024. And then, so we had some sort of summer launch classes then, and then sort of went for it in September of 24. Yeah.
You were teaching beforehand? What were you doing beforehand?
Yeah, so I was a primary school teacher for 11 years. So I was a teacher for quite a long time, taught year 5, year 4, year 3. And in amongst that, I've had 2 children as well. And sort of returning from my maternity leave with my little girl, sort of struggled to sort of find the balance with it. Didn't really feel the love for all the extra bits that were going in with teaching as well. I loved the job, loved teaching, loved being a teacher and working with children, but it just wasn't really the right match for me and my family anymore. So it sort of happened that Christmas before I left, I was actually already a Story Rangers parent. So I was going to Story Rangers classes, Emma's classes, with my little boy Louis, and he was about to start preschool. And as I said, I'd just returned from maternity leave with my second and was struggling a bit. And I thought somewhere in the future, maybe I might look for something different. Up until that point, I wouldn't say I'm someone who likes change. I wouldn't say I would have been described as someone who'd take risks. I was sort of quite happy where I was, happy to just keep doing it. But I happened to just ask the question when I left, after a little bit of pestering from some of my friends, to ask Emma, really, well, how do you go about doing something like this? Really just sort of thinking about the future, maybe thinking, oh, I'd love to do something like this one day, not really envisaging that actually when I asked Emma, they'd sort of got plans on the horizon to be expanding into franchising. So it kind of felt like I'd asked the right question at the right time. So sort of carried on plodding along with teaching, and that was where sort of things led with conversations with Emma, met up with her, talked about our options of what might happen, and there we go. Yeah, left teaching and I haven't looked back since, really. So
yeah, you've had an incredible 18 months, I would say, because obviously I met you when you came to Club Hub, and you weren't even a franchisee then. You were still obviously looking at the opportunity to join the team. And obviously I know Emma and Lorna really well because I helped them franchise their business, and they're incredible business owners, and I absolutely love the brand. And I just remember meeting you on that day and thinking, yeah, she's coming in. And I just knew you were just a good fit for what Emma was building and Lorna was building. And I could just tell the way that you were interacting with everyone that day at the event that this was sort of like your next logical step, like maybe, where you were meant to be. And it's been a brilliant journey so far in business, hasn't it, I would say, for you?
Absolutely, yeah. So like that day when I came to Club Hub, I'd met Emma for the first time properly to discuss sort of what things might look like, and she was telling me more about the franchise. Probably, I think, a week or so before that, and she happened just to say, like, if you want to come, you can come along with us. And that was amazing, like the chance to go to Club Hub and meet everyone that was there and kind of imagine myself in that world. It was just like really refreshing to think, actually, this is a place where you can do a job and people really respect you for what you're doing. And it feels a little bit like there's a lot of teachers out there who work really hard, and it's not every place, but it does feel a bit like they don't really get the gratitude that they deserve. But I just could feel the energy in like that room, and like people that Emma and Lorna introduced me to, like yourself really, and like, you know, all these other great people out there are just so positive. And yeah, it felt too good of an opportunity to not take that risk to join them, really. It felt like, I don't know, I'd asked that question, how do you go about doing it? And it just seemed too good to be true not to give it a try. So yeah, as I said before, I'm not someone you would have described as a risk taker or someone who like really looks for change or things like that. But I think that's all sort of changed really in that time. So with like the support of all my family and my friends, I sort of decided, right, well, that's it then. I'm going to give it a go, because I know I've still got all the skill set of being a teacher. I've got the experience of being a teacher and now a mom. And as I say, I had gone to Story Rangers with my little boy, Louis. So I was really sort of passionate about what that was all about. So that had given me a real taster for what Story Rangers is all like. So it felt a good thing to just give it a go and see what came of it. So we sort of got the ball rolling, and I left teaching that summer. I'd sort of looked into a few venues that I was maybe going to look into using in September, and thought about how we could maybe do a few sort of launch sort of summer events to try and get a few people in to try it. Emma and Lorna sort of supporting me with all the training that I needed. I got that chance before I left teaching to use up some of my time to shadow them and see what it was all about. And that was like really wonderful to see all the different settings that they go in, like to see it in a nursery and an after school club. Obviously I'd only seen it as a parent, so it was quite nice to see it from the other side and what all that sort of looked like. So they were quite successful. And then from then on in September, it was just sort of, we just sort of drip to sort of build it up really. I was very conscious of making sure I didn't sort of go in too hard and not really get good at what I was learning. I wanted to make sure I was doing a good job of it. So I started off with just 2 parent and child classes in different locations and a nursery. And then as time's gone on, I've done more like one-off specials where I've pulled in more customers. I've built more contracts with other nurseries, and sort of following that first year, this year now, from like the September that we've just passed in 25, it's like I'm really, really busy now. I'm finding it hard to sort of manage my time sort of thing. So me and Emma have even been in talks of how we could look into even employing a teacher and being able to sort of take on that workload for me. So to say that's happened in such a short space of time, it's been incredible, really.
Yeah, that's really, really amazing. And you've done a heck of a lot. And we met last year because you came and did the Market Like a Pop Star challenge event, and then you came on to do the program.
Yeah,
it's quite a fast and furious program because, as anyone knows, if anyone knows me, I move fast with things. What was one of the reasons that, first of all, tell everyone, why did you sign up to join the program?
Well, obviously Emma and Lorna have always spoke so highly of you. Seeing you at the Club Hub on that first year, because I think you spoke then that year where I hadn't quite joined Story Rangers, but when I was there, you just make so much sense, all the things that you were saying. I thought that's an area I really want to get to know as much as I can with marketing. It's something up until doing this, I didn't know. I don't know. It's nothing I'd have had to do before. It was completely different, really, in some respects to what I'd done as a teacher, marketing and all that side of things, with then leading on to selling. But actually, I've learned to really love it. So I was just very conscious of making sure that any opportunity to take on extra training or extra support from people, I really wanted to do. So signing up to your free challenge first and giving that a sort of a go was really helpful to kind of connect with people, to network, to pick up skills and sort of strategies for how you can really plan out your marketing and pick up the best ways of doing it and where to do it. So following that, I just thought, well, actually, this is a really good investment in myself, in my business, and hopefully growing my business. I thought this is going to be a good use of my money to sort of hopefully in the future be able to always pull on those skills. And yeah, it was really, really like amazing. So I think I valued it really, the idea of like looking at how to look at the purpose of my business and how I want to get that across to people. Thinking what strategies are the best way to market what we're selling and what we want to do. So something I found really useful that you did with the program was where we looked at like AI and how that can help to kind of identify your ideal client. I'd never even thought of something like that, look, how you really need to be specific with exactly who that person is. I touched upon it when I was doing like my business plan, but to go into it in that depth really sort of then supported going forward where I want to be targeting my social media, my adverts, marketing, emails and things like that, and how we can identify who those competitors are. I found that really helpful and what makes us different. So there's just so many strands of it that like it's hard to even just like put into one description, but so many strands of it have been so helpful. And what I've loved is being able to then dip back into it when I feel like, oh, actually, I haven't done that for a while. Maybe I could look that up and go back into sort of the resources and use those again.
Right. I mean, yeah, for sure, because like marketing changes all the time. And so it's a never ending game and you've got to be able to move and pivot and embrace like what's coming in the market so you can adapt to it. And like the fundamental skills, last year we focused on how to use AI basically to accelerate your business. And like you said, do a deep dive into customers and positioning, etc. And this year for me, it's going to be brand new content again. So because obviously the marketplace has shifted again, people are having to adapt. And so we're going to be covering new areas that people need to focus on in 2026. But in terms of like, I always say like the programs that I run always attract the people that take action. And from one of the things that you were saying is, and what I really liked about what you said is that you were starting out in business. And so therefore you were like, I know I've got a skills gap in these areas and I need to plug them really fast if I want to make sure I've got a long-term sustainable, successful business. And sometimes I hear, Jo, when I'm talking to business owners, they say, oh, I've only just started. I can't afford it. And in my head, I'm a bit like, you can't afford not to. And you've just sort of said that, like, because you were like, I don't know this stuff. And if I don't get to grips with it pretty quickly, then I'm not going to be able to move my business forward. So I find that really interesting that you said that. So yeah, what do you know, in terms of like action takers, it's been surrounded by the right people, like everyone's wanting to do like success, birds of a feather flock together. So I always feel like you get this big energy surge when you've got the right people all in one spot. How did you feel? Yeah, because it was like a big crew last year, wasn't it? So we did have a big crew.
Yeah, that's nice because I think actually going from a teaching job where you're obviously always with your colleagues and you've always got those people to dip on, when you then become a business owner and you're working alone, obviously I have my Story Rangers team and Emma and Lorna and the rest of the girls are like amazing. But it is that sort of, it was really good to have other businesses to network with and meeting those new people like within the Facebook group that we're doing Market Like a Pop Star. It was so helpful to be able to just call on them or even just look at things that they were struggling with or they've tried out. And so you were learning so much without really even trying there as well, like learning from each other. So that was really helpful to have that as an extra resource that you could just dip into the group of people who were doing these things through the challenges. And that's why I've signed up again to do your next one that's coming up, because I know again there'll be like other little nuggets that come out of it or other people that we might learn things from that will be useful to put into what I'm doing as well. And so yeah, it's really helpful having that team support, definitely.
And we did the 1K in 7-day challenge last year. You took part in that?
I did. I think Yeah, I did that before summer, but I also did you do another one? I'm trying to think what I did. I definitely did one where we did, oh no, I'm thinking, sorry. I did that, and I did the one for Black Friday. Was that the same? Was that one,
Yes.
Kate? Yeah, it was that one where that was really successful. Like, I've got it written down somewhere, but I sold pretty much all my places before Christmas. I think I made, gosh, it was almost like £900 within that week, which I wasn't, so I was really it really spurred me on to have that kind of motivation, and that challenge, I think, really worked for me, to have the idea of right, I'm going to do this, and sort of to plan ahead rather than think it as an afterthought. It really gave me that sort of motivation to, how am I going to market this? How am I going to get that out there? How am I going to sell those places? And it really worked. It was incredible. And to know then by Christmas time that I didn't have to worry about what was coming after the holidays, that I was sorted, that was amazing. So yeah, that really was a really good challenge. It was great.
Well, yeah, this time when we run the program this year, we usually run it in the June time. We're going to run it again this year, so everyone will get an opportunity to make their return on investment back. But I always love it, because if we do it when we do it in June, usually people are either selling their summer activities or selling September classes. And we've had so many great results where people are have sold out a massive chunk, or sold out their September classes, which then means they could just breathe over the summer holiday. They can relax, they can enjoy their time with their families, knowing that they've already got those bookings in the bag. And I also like it because it's like what you said, it also gives the business owner time to actually stop and think and reflect on their business, because they're not chasing bookings and not in that mind of, I've got to get bookings in, I've got to get bookings in. They've done the job, then they've got some breathing space. And the ones that have gone on, like Michelle Webb, who from Tiny Talk, she's gone from 1K challenges to doing 10K challenges. That's the difference once you know how to market and sell and advertise your product. And I just love that for everyone, because they just get so much out of it. And what I really like as well is that everyone comes together. So there is this energy. And when there's energy, that's when you always make more sales. It's the best time to make sales. So when everyone's doing it all at once, they're all bouncing off each other going, yes, I've made it £900 a day or whatever it is. Yeah. It just spurs everyone else on, because they're like, actually, if they're doing it, I can do it too. And it's just obviously getting that right offer correct, which is what I teach when we put it together. Oh, I'm glad that you made your £900 at that Black Friday week, and it's a good opportunity. From your perspective, obviously, and be honest here, what's it like to work with me? Because I know I'm a bit of a taskmaster. I do work at pace, because I'm always like, come on, let's go. But I like to think that I do my best to help everybody and to get the best out of them. But you can be honest.
No, absolutely. You are. I think people like me, I need that, because I can be a bit I don't know, overthink a little bit, or is that the right way to do that? And actually, you're just so straight to the point and direct, and say, no, you can do this and do it this way. And there's been countless times where I know Emma and Lorna have sort of said, oh yeah, we've learnt this from Chrissy. Chrissy has shown us this. And so they've passed on their wisdom that you shared with them. And that has really sort of obviously helped Story Rangers to fly. But then personally for me, when I've done those challenges with you, it's been amazing to know you've got all that expertise and you're more than happy to sort of share it, and that I've called on you with WhatsApps or voice notes, and you've sort of got back to me straight away, which has been so helpful. I know that I sort of, when I was doing those challenges, said, oh, Chrissy, does this offer sound good? Or how do we need to stack this offer? And all those things that I've picked up from you. It's great that it's not just you talking to all the group, you actually individually support everyone, which is really helpful. And I think the energy that you put into it, then obviously we all feed off that too. So that's really helpful, rather than dithering around and me worrying whether it's, the right thing to do. I feel okay, I can do this, believe in myself a little bit more. And that's what you need, isn't it? Like you say, when everyone feels the energy of it becomes successful. So yeah, absolutely. everything we've done so far and with your help has really made a big difference. So very grateful.
That's good to hear. And you've entered the Class Business Awards, haven't you? You're in.
I am, yes. I need to actually do it, but yes, I am going to be applying. Don't worry.
That's part of like what you're building long term now. Is like you've got off to a flying start. The business is going well. You're winning contracts. You're marketing well, so you understand all that part. And now you're building your personal brand, building your credibility, and awards help with that. So you're definitely making all the right moves that you need to be building in 2026 for sure. And I can't wait to see your application because I know it's going to be a good one.
Absolutely.
So Jo, as with all of these things, when I open up the doors to the programme, obviously I speak to lots of the business owners that have taken part. And one of the things they always tell me is either you'll get these people that are like, yes, I'm jumping in, I want to do this. And they're the action takers who like go fast. Then you'll get a bunch of people who are like, oh, I can't afford it because I'm just starting, which I always think is a real shame because that's the best time to learn, which is what you've already said. And then the other bunch of people will be like, I don't have the time. Now, I know you've got small children and I know you were in your first year in business, so you were juggling like everyone does. What would you say like to those people? Because you were in those shoes last year.
Yeah, I think, like you say, it's easy to say you can't afford it, but I completely agree that you can't afford not to if it's something that you think you might need. If it's a gap in the market where in your like knowledge and your skill set where you feel actually I need to work on that, it's just been invaluable for me. Having that opportunity to work on myself, on my business, to grow my knowledge and my skill sets, it's been completely worth every penny. I think, yes, it can be tricky to manage that time, but I think once you've invested in it, then actually I've got to make this worthwhile. I've got to make sure I set that time aside for myself and for my business because it's important. So I found things like, like sort of scheduling it in or timetabling in just a little bit of time to work on it. And that really helpful. So knowing, well, actually, I'm going to do that because it's going to pay off for when I'm growing and when things are going to sort of hopefully my aim was for things. I knew that first year I wanted to take it slow and a bit steady so that I could find my feet, make sure I was doing all the right things. And one of those things was to make sure I was training where I could, picking up the right sort of bits of knowledge, meeting the right people to then put into my business so that I could grow. And that is exactly what has happened. So it's easy to say, you should do it, but actually look at all the people around that it has been successful for. That once I doing things like that and putting that time and that money into things has given me the confidence and the knowledge to really know that I'm doing marketing the best way I can, that I'm not just giving it a go and guessing. I know I'm targeting the right people. I've found my ideal sort of client and customer. I'm not wasting time that I don't really have, just sort of faffing around on social media. I'm being efficient with what I'm doing because of things I've learned from your program and things I've learned from meeting people that, again, have worked with you and people around you. So it was so worth it because it's given me that confidence to grow in marketing and grow my business. And it's really paid off because now, yes, the money I spent on that at the time was a big investment, but I've earned that back and more because I now work within a week with like 5 different nurseries. My specials are always sold out. I've got people who will always now come back to me when they can and they love my classes and what I do and just that feeling of that personal brand that they've got from me and who I am. I know that a lot of that has come from my marketing. And it's something I found a real love for and didn't realize I loved. As I said, it was something I went in not knowing a lot about. And now actually I'm sort of freelancing doing the marketing for all of like our Story Rangers like pages. So it's kind of quite a big turnaround and shows actually what impact it's had on me and my business and then Story Rangers itself, because I've used that to my advantage and it's really paying off because now I'm struggling to kind of manage all those people that want to work with me and work with Story Rangers, because I think the message we're putting out there through our marketing is really getting across now. And so absolutely, if you are on the fence, then go for it. It's worth every penny when you can see that little bit down the line that it was worth putting the money in you. And I think if you don't, you know, if you just try and do it yourself and pick bits up here and there, maybe you won't be as invested in it. But knowing that, yes, I had spent that money on it, I knew I needed to put it into practice and make it worthwhile. And I think the proof's in the pudding. So
Yeah, that's always the way. Whenever you invest and you've got skin in the game, you will always go all in to make that investment back. And then, like you said, like you've made your investment back and some, because you can never take away the skills you learn. Once I know if I said to you next week, Jo, I want you to put out, you're going to go and make £1,000 in a week. I know that you'd be able to sit down now and create an offer that would speak to your ideal customer. You would know how to stack it. You would know how to sell it. You would know how to close, and you'll learn all that obviously when we did all the work last year. And it's great because I've just given you those skills and you can crack on. That's it. You can
exactly.
running your business and get on with your life because that's what you want. So if anyone wants to connect with you, where's the best place for them to hang? Where do you hang out? Where should they come and connect with you?
On my Facebook page or Instagram. So that'd be Story Rangers Stourbridge Dudley. Or they can easily WhatsApp me. That's no problem. I'm happy to share that on there. That's fine. Do you want me to share that over?
Yeah, you can. You can give me the numbers afterwards, and we'll add it in. But yeah, if people want to connect with you, just
that's fine.
Instagram,
yeah, of course. Yeah, no problem.
And are you going to Club Hub this year?
I am. So we'll be there in a couple of weeks. I'm finalist in Franchisee of the Year and Startup Business of the Year. So,
oh my God, so exciting! So I'll be there at the Club Hub Awards, and I expect there'll be people who are doing the event next week will be at the Club Hub event as well. So I'm sure you'll get to connect with people.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Thank you so much for your time today. It is very much appreciated. I know you're extremely busy and juggling and everything else. But I know by you sharing your story, it will have an impact on other business owners. And that's what we're trying to achieve this year, is just have that big impact so people thrive instead of trying to survive. And I know it's valuable, the information that you shared today. So thank you so much, Jo.
That's okay. Thank you. Thanks for your time. It's been great. Thank you.